Sunday evening. Alex Wooten here, and we're continuing our series that we have been doing this month on questions God has asked. Tonight's question is, where are you? Comes out of Genesis chapter 3, verse 9. And the Lord called to Adam and Eve, and said, where are you? Before the flood, before the Ten Commandments, before Israel or the church, there was a garden, simple, peaceful, whole. The Bible tells us that in the cool of the day, God himself would walk there. No thunder and no distance, no glowing, just closeness, creator and creation as one. And then came that choice, the whisper of temptation, the bite, the shame. When God came walking as he always did, something was different. He called out, where are you? It's not that he didn't know, it's that something precious had been lost. And God was the one searching. And that's the first question God ever asks humanity. And I believe it's still echoing every day. God's question is not about location. It's about relationship. God wasn't confused about Adam's physical location. He knew exactly which tree Adam and Eve were crouched behind. He wasn't asking, where are you hiding? He said, where are you in relation to me? It's a question of the heart, not geography. Because sin doesn't move our bodies first. It moves our hearts. Adam hadn't left Eden yet, but he had already drifted from that intimacy that he had with God. And before sin, Adam walked with God. After sin, he hid from him. And we still do that. When guilt creeps in, we avoid prayer. When shame whispers, we avoid church. When fear wins, we avoid people who might remind us of what we're running from. God's voice hasn't changed, though. He doesn't come with condemnation. He comes with compassion. He still calls out, where are you, my child? Why are you hiding? And every time we feel far from God, that's the first question he's asking. Not to accuse us, but to invite us back. Secondly, sin makes us hide, but grace makes us heard. Adam answered, I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid. And it's the first time fear enters the human story. Until that moment, there had only ever been peace, security, and trust. Sin introduced something humanity had never known, that fear of being seen. Notice what Adam says, not I was guilty, but I was afraid. Fear replaced fellowship. That's what sin does. It convinces us that if God really saw us, he couldn't love us. So we cover up, not with fig leaves, but performance. We build reputations, hide behind ministries, wear smiles that don't tell the truth. See, grace always makes the first move. God could have said, you failed, I'm done, bye. Instead, he says, I'm still here, come out. And that's the miracle. It's like a parent calling into the dark house, hey, where you at? They're not worried, they're not angry, they're worried. They just want to hold their child again. And that's God's voice there in Genesis chapter 3. Not fury, not fire, just longing. The same voice is whispering, I know what you've done and I'm not going anywhere. Then, and here's the third part, exposing the lie, God asks a second question. Who told you that you were naked? He's not talking about clothing. He's talking about identity. In essence, God is asking, who told you something about yourself that I never said? That's one of the most important questions in scriptures. And because from that day forth, humanity has been listening to the wrong advice. The serpent whispered lies. You're not good enough. You're beyond forgiveness. You're divine by what you've done. And God says, who told you that? Because it didn't come from me. We've been shaped by voices that were never divine, parents who wounded us, critics who shamed us, cultures that measured us by what we could produce. But God's voice cuts through all of that. Sometimes we mess up. We don't just say, I made a mistake. We tend to sometimes say, I am a mistake. But God won't let that lie stand. Fourthly, there's another question. What is this that you have done? He asked that to Eve. This isn't rage, it's heartbreak. It's sorrow of a father watching his children wound themselves. God is sitting here trying to understand. He's not asking for information. He's asking confession. God already knows what happened. Confession isn't about revealing that information to God, it's revealing ourselves to Him. We often think confession is scary, but it's sacred. You see, that same voice still echoes today, the God who still asks, "Where are you?" And He doesn't ask because He's lost us. He asks because He loves us. Maybe your hiding place isn't a tree, it's behind busyness. Maybe it's behind cynicism. Maybe it's behind ministry. Maybe it's a smile that says, "I'm okay." But God knows. And we have been given this invitation to step out of hiding. So here's the question for us. Where are you? The good news of Genesis 3 is God isn't waiting for us to climb our way back. He comes looking for us. He walks into the garden asking our name, calling it. At the cross, He did it again. He didn't shout from heaven, "Come up here." He said, "Where are you?" Until we answered, "Right here, Lord," found. Every day, God is asking the same question. Where are you? Not because He needs directions to us, but because He wants connection. And we need to simply say, "Lord, I'm here. I've been hiding, but I want to walk with you again." If there's anything we can do, reach out to us at the Lilies Chapel Church of Christ. God bless.